closest to you or something?
Well, it's normally I go for the one with the lowest ping, but
Oh, yeah.
regardless
Okay.
of where it is. But
hmm
yeah. All right, so this is Dan Gilman,
And Zach Gazrowski.
and this week we are playing Tales of Symphonia Chronicles. We are playing the original Tales of Symphonia side, though.
So Tales of Symphonia Chronicles comes with what? It's got the, what, two games in one? Dawn, Dawn of the New World?
Yes, which is the sequel. I believe it was a Wii game.
It was a Wii game, yeah.
Yeah, it
I never got around to that, I don't think.
did.
The
Do you
Wii version.
have you played the Tales games at all?
You know what? I played this one back on the GameCube. This because I know the GameCube version and this version too, of course. I mean, man, it's a long RPG.
Well, yeah, it's a JRPG, so
Yeah, and I only played like 5 or 10 hours max of this game. So I played it a long time ago, like when it first came out. Don't really remember anything about it, and that's been my experience with this game. But you've been playing all the Tales games.
yeah. Actually, funny story. This is the one that got me into the Tales games.
Well, they didn't really become popular until the GameCube version, anyway. The Tales
Um,
of Symphonia.
I played the one on the.
There was one on PS2. There was
Actually,
like
I played through those afterwards.
there was like a GBA version.
Oh, I actually own that. I've never played it. And I've never played that. I think it's like Phantasma or something.
Yeah. Right. I never played that one either.
A friend of mine gave it to me and is like, "Oh, it's awesome." And the problem is, like, there's one of them that was on the PS1, and I, I actually and I did play that one. A friend of mine in high school let me borrow it,
Was
and
it
it
an
was
import?
no, it came, they
Oh,
came out on the PS1.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and
Huh.
he
Okay.
owned it on the PS1, and it was really fucking hard. It was like it was weird because I remember I got like really fucking far in the game and then I just got lost. And it was like this time in RPGs that it seemed like difficulty could be measured by like if you could get lost in it. And I just remember it was like there was this string of RPGs right around then that I just couldn't fucking I just couldn't figure out where I was, what I was doing. Um, and it was like they're like, even if they were like, yeah, we have to go here, and you sort like that one was like, it turned out there was like an upper world above the world that you lived on, which is a common Tales trope for some reason, is that there's like another world that you go to.
Oh, was that Tales of Fantasia? I'm looking it up now. Is that There's a Tales of Fantasia on PS1, and then there's Tales of Fandom and Tales of Destiny. But that's not the same series.
There's one on the PS1 that came out in the US, and
So
that's
so that might have been the Tales of Fantasia then.
might have been.
Namco, yeah, 98.
And
Yeah, that's probably it.
I played it, and I just like I got to the overworld, and I had no fucking idea. Like, and like what they were doing was like you would go to the overworld, and then like have to go down like to the earth below or something, and then back up to the overworld. It was just
And you know what? That's kind of the thing. Like, I've not that I like don't like these games. It's just that I don't know if I have the time, to play them. Let alone like the patience, for these like long ass RPGs, these JRPGs that take 60 to 80 hours to start making a dent in. And that was the thing with this GameCube version and now this HD kind of up-resing remake. It's just a big ass long game.
it is. It's a fucking huge game.
But if you're into that, I mean, I hear like this is the best. You think this is the best Tales game? That's what I think that's what it's
No,
been.
no.
Or is that the N60 or the 360 version?
Vesperia.
Vesperia, yeah. Is that the best Tales? You think?
Hands down, Vesperia is the best one.
And then
Um,
what do you think of
is the
Symphonia? Is that number two? Like, is that
no,
underneath?
no, I really don't even think so at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is like one of the lesser quality.
No, I think that this is a really good Tales game. I just think that this is like um it's up like in the Tales quality. It's like the ones that came after this. This is like the step into modern Tales.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
all of the Tales before this, like I think this was like one of the first Tales that had that your characters could move around in 3 dimensions. Before that, you always fought in like a 2D field.
And I think the GameCube version, you could actually play four-player co-op. Like you can all control one character.
Yeah, yeah. I
That
actually had a friend that was talking to me about like when he was playing through this, someone would take control of like someone in the party,
yeah,
and then that's how they would play the game, and that's how he played through the entire game.
that would be
Was he
pretty sweet if you can get a buddy or two to.
Well, he said he had like almost always had the full party playing
Wow.
as
So
someone with a controller.
yeah,
And it's like, wow, that would be really cool and
Th-
also would make the game super fucking easy.
yeah. I mean, it would. Yeah, it'd be I mean, that's if you can. That's the preferred way probably to play. You know, if you got three other dudes that have the patience and actually like want to play this game seriously, like yeah, I guess you can have a blast with it.
Yeah, I don't even think that it's like you need the patience. Like a lot of these this is one of the first ones that doesn't really have pacing issues either.
Oh.
Um
Yeah, I never beat this game, of course, but because I don't want to spend 60 hours, you know, in a game like this when I have to review so many others. But I heard it's supposed to be a good one. You know, it seems to be like a fan favorite, or maybe the first Tales game that people really got into.
yeah, no,
I mean, this looks a lot better than the
you
GameCube
say
version.
and
Not that the
it's
GameCube
funny
version was
because
bad.
like you say that and I'm just like thinking like wow, this kind of does looks exactly the same, but
I mean, to me, because I think just because of this the widescreen in general, like I think that just gives a lot more to it. But I remember watching like a trailer or something, and they actually did like a comparison of the Cube version versus this version, and you can see that the colors are way brighter. Obviously, you got the widescreen aspect ratio.
yeah. It it's kind of funny because there's like still parts to this that like I I don't remember like that. I just vaguely remember like one of the characters. If you talk to the title system in this is different than most of the Tales games.
Hmm.
Like you get a title and like most of the Tales games, like you would get a title and it would like change your outfit or something weird like that. And in this one, it's like you get a title and it changes your fucking stats when you use it.
Oh,
And like one of the best titles you can get is by having a character selected as your main character and then using them to talk to every fucking dog in the game.
so what is like the main like? Give me a summary of the story in like 2 sentences of Tales of Symphonia. Like, what the hell's going on here? I know you're playing as Lloyd. Like, what's the summary here?
Oh god, 2 sentences.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
just like
make
a
this.
super quick. You know,
Um,
are you trying to save the world? Are you trying to save your sister?
it's always two worlds. You're always trying to save two worlds. It always starts off that you're on a journey to save the world, and then you find out there's a second world, and then you go on a journey to save them both without sacrificing one.
Okay.
Is basically Tales in a nutshell.
So are you saving it from like a bad dude who wants to like blow it up, or is there something going on like with the Earth's life stream or something?
Basically, it's there's I think what it is that the world has been split in two, and the mana that should have been the mana that sustains all life, so
Hmm.
life stream, was
Yeah.
split in two, and it's just enough for one world. And so the what they did instead of like dividing it between both of them
Hmm.
was deciding that both would go through periods of like feast and famine.
Oh.
So and it's controlled by having a chosen go through these trials and then activating like certain requirements to start the mana flowing back into the other world. And yeah, so
So
that's
typical complex Japanese RPG plotline.
yeah, and it's like, the bad guys that you think are the bad guys really aren't, but yeah, it's a lot of it's like, double, like I think there's been a quadruple cross at this point.
Yeah.
Like someone is like they're like they double crossed you to the bad guy, but were really working for you, but might really be working for the bad guy, but might really be a good guy. Like, I don't
Yeah.
fucking know, like, how many times you've been, like, screwed over and saved by this person.
And there's like a lot of playable characters in this game, no?
8, yeah.
8, yeah.
And you can basically swap them in
Hmm.
and out,
Yeah, as soon as you get them, like
on
whenever you want.
fly too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they're all like selectable and playable, and they can be um like on the map as your main character.
Hmm.
Uh, one of the cool things is I have the other two Tales games that came out on the PS3.
Oh, yeah.
Zilia and what the fuck? This is literally what I'm supposed to be doing. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah, that's what's I kind of like about the Tales series is you can like see the enemies on the screen, so you can kind of run around
Yeah, that's
them.
that. Yeah, you can
It's not
avoid them.
totally random battles.
Um, there's something in this one that I've noticed that it's like if you're really overpowered, sometimes like the enemies will just like let you basically run through them.
Yeah, yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
So this way you
it's
don't have to, waste your time dicking around with
lower level enemies.
things
I
that,
say
yeah.
as I get into a lower level enemy fight. But yeah, Tails. It's
So, so Tales of Symphonia takes place before the Wii version, or because the Wii version takes place after. That's the sequel,
yes. So
and
Tales of
you get both on the Chronicles disc here, right?
yes, and
And
I
and
have
you can pick them both like right from the main menu, like which one you want to play, or do you have to
it's
play
yeah,
through?
and it's really kind of like weirdly done because it's a static screen
Mhm.
with like art that's like the art for the cover, and
Yeah,
then it's the literal cover image to Tales of like the Tales of
Dawn of the New World,
yeah, like
and
like select which box you want. There's
yeah,
no music or anything.
hmm
It's like do you want Symphonia or do you want Dawn of the
yeah.
New World? And then you
So basically,
select
they
it.
put little effort into making the intro select
Almost
screen.
none.
I mean, that's like minimal programming and minimal design.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's not fucking nothing there. Not to say that not to dismiss the game in any way, shape,
Yeah.
or form, but
Well, they didn't want to like recode anything. They just up-resed everything. So they just like let's
I
just make a very basic. That's the
but
only programming required, basically.
well they did put extra stuff in here. Like so it noticed that I had um that in the past I had played Tales
Oh,
of
like
Xillia
oh,
and Tales of I forget what the other Graces, Tales of
oh, Grace
Graces.
is that? Yeah.
Um, and I own both of those, and I have clear files on both of them. And it
Oh,
literally said, "Oh, we see that you have played these, and that you have clear files. Here's an added bonus to this game."
oh, that yeah, I like that. That's cool.
And it's like so I can select um, like character costumes from past Tales games.
Oh,
And it's like the way that they say it, it's basically like, "Hey, thanks for
hmm
thanks for supporting Tales." It's
That's
like,
cool. I like
yeah,
when they do things like that. Yeah.
because it actually makes me feel like, oh, okay, like at least they appreciate the fans enough to put something in there that's like, hey, we could have sold these as like bonus items for like $2 a piece if we wanted to be dicks, but thanks for supporting the franchise.
Yeah, they know that if you like Tales, you're going to get all the Tales games. So why not give
Yeah,
a nod to the fans?
yeah, it's like the Shin Megami Tensei games, the Persona
Oh
games.
yeah.
Like, I buy all of those, and if there was a way that they could have given me a small stupid bonus, I'd be like, hey, they know I
And
exist.
they know that the fans are hardcore and going to eat
Yeah,
that stuff up.
they care about me almost. Having my wife yell at me for spending so much money is so worth it.
And so you were dropping bombs there on the overworld, and it kind of reminds me a lot of the Wild Arms series, where you got JRPG battles like this, turn-based battles, but then you got kind of like Zelda-like dungeons where you drop bombs and you hit switches to, it's like slight puzzle solving.
Oh yeah, there's definitely that's so like I there are a bunch of people that actually that's their critique of the Tales games basically is that there is this light puzzle solving.
They don't like it, or they do like
They
it.
they don't like it at all just
Oh,
because it'll be like this simple dungeon that you will normally just you know probably run through, maybe do some like it's a maze because it's a dungeon. um but aside from that, um aside from that, it's kind of like straightforward, more like a Final Fantasy dungeon.
yeah, it's
There's
nothing.
there's no
It's
real puzzle solving in it.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's just
It's
something to do.
yeah, it's so you don't like fucking hang yourself playing it.
Yeah,
Um, and these there's just like these random fucking like puzzles, sometimes like timing puzzles and shit like that, and you'll just be it'll just seem out of place sometimes, and
yeah.
later in the game like there'll be times that won't have seen one for it'll seem like hours and hours and hours, and then they'll just like dump one on you.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy has things like that too from time to time.
Yeah, like like I think it's this one that it's pretty straightforward for the majority. Like,
Yeah, it's nothing you're going to have to like look up a fax for or hit this switch, walk over here.
well,
It's
no,
not.
that's the thing is like I actually, for the most part, was able to like brute force it and get
Hmm.
all of the, like all of the, items and everything that was hidden, just by guessing what I was supposed to do. But basically, like this one, it was like there was just a couple puzzles that I was like, I don't fucking know what to do. And I remember having to go to GameFAQs when I was playing this game in exactly those situations and be like, what am I supposed to do? And like reading the same facts a decade ago and being like, oh, okay.
How much does this game cost? Is it the full?
I think it's
It's not.
40.
Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was $40,
well, I
right?
mean, like, I think there's like an ultra collector's edition, but like, you fucked yourself over. You're not getting that one at this point.
Yeah, those are always rare, and you have to pre-order them.
Well, this one was like super bad because it was like, I think GameStop offered it and they sold out pretty quickly, but Amazon, it was a matter of hours they were selling out.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes with these types of games. Because the
Yeah,
hardcore fans are going to get them. That's why they do it.
yeah. But this is, yeah, these are, the hardest of the hardcore fans for these. And I love the Tales games. I think they're great. Um, and I'd still be playing this one if the Atelier game hadn't come out recently.
Yeah. Have you played Dawn of the New World?
I have not. I was actually
Oh,
I wanted to play through this just for a
yeah,
refresher before I jumped into that one.
yeah. That's cool that they give you both games. You're getting both of the.
You can actually buy them individually on PSN.
Oh, I didn't know that. Probably $20 each or
20
something.
bucks each, yeah. Which kind of makes sense if you think about like the shitty title sequence that they implemented. It's
Right.
like, oh, okay, like I guess that would yeah, yeah, shitty title sequence like um like maybe it's only there for the disc base and they're planning on selling more digitally.
Maybe, I mean, that's probably why, because $20, and they figured, well, if you're going to play one, and if you're going to probably buy the other one eventually, so it makes sense to just sell them digitally for $20. Why not?
Yeah. So now you've been playing Ground Zeroes, right?
I picked it. Just came out yesterday. I just picked it up yesterday.
And you haven't beaten it yet?
I no, I did last night. I've been working way too many hours this week, and so I haven't had time. I'm planning on playing the hell out of it this weekend and next week a lot. But I played it yesterday.
It's only like 2 hours.
Yeah, I played through the ground zero, and that's the thing. So you like the first mission is the ground zero's mission where you got to go in and save Chico and Paz from Peace Walker, and that I beat it in about, I think my final time was like an hour and 35 minutes or something like that, and I could have beaten it in an hour, but because it was the first time I was playing it, I wanted to see stuff. I was walking around, I was experimenting with the controls.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could beat that game, that mission very quickly. I think I saw a thing that there was like a speed run, somebody beat it in 10 minutes. Yeah, I can believe that. And if you just fly
10
through
minutes?
it, if you know it, yeah, because if you know exactly where to go, and if you skip the cutscenes, you can actually speed run it in, 10, 15 minutes. I can see that happening. I believe that. I actually haven't watched the video and stuff. I just read these stories. But after you beat the Ground Zero's mission, though, you actually unlock a handful of other like side op missions where basically you're playing the same like stage, but you're just doing different things. One was like, and again, I haven't played this, so I'm kind of I don't know the details about them yet. But one of them was like you have to find items. The other one was you have to find a character. The other one was you have to find intel. And then you actually, I got it on PS3, so the trophies it's like beat this one level without being spotted, beat this one level while riding on a truck. So there's like extra incentive to play through these. And there's like a hard mode, and a normal mode. So there's a couple different difficulty settings. So it is a short game, but it's supposed to be, like they designed it that way. And if you read all the interviews and stuff with Kojima, he just wanted
like a
to
$20 game too.
It's well, yeah. If you buy a digital 30 on all systems, but he wanted to release it now to give fans something to play, and more specifically in Japan. Like the PS4 just launched in Japan, and there's really no like next gen Japanese game, so he wanted to make a game that's worthy of like a new gen system, even though it's really small. And you can kind of think of it, like the tanker mission in Metal Gear 2, where there was, it's only 10 to 20% of the game, and the rest of the game was in the plant with Raiden. But it's kind of the same way where when the Phantom Pain comes out, maybe later this year, but most likely next year, I'd say. That's going to be the meat of the game, the meat of the Metal Gear 5 series.
Do you think that they'll sell this in a pack that has?
I'm sure. I'm sure they will, but at the eventually. But if you play it now, there's all these extra side missions and stuff, right? And there's actually like characters, POWs that you can save and bring back. And if you actually save these characters, and if you beat all these extra missions and stuff, you actually will unlock things in the Phantom Pain. Of course, they haven't announced what specifically that's going to be yet, but basically the more you play Ground Zeroes, the more stuff you'll get in the Phantom Pain. But from what from the hour and a half that I played yesterday, I liked it. I mean, it's Metal Gear, even though it's new, and it feels just so realistic. I mean, just how things move, and there's enemies all over the place, and how they react, and how your gun shoots, and how it feels and reloads. The controls, they did a really good job with it, and it just feels like the next evolution of Metal Gear, because each Metal Gear game has kind of had a slightly different control scheme. Like Metal Gear 1, you kind of select things with the trigger buttons, and it kind of bled into Metal Gear 2, and then Metal Gear 3 was a little bit different, and then Metal Gear 4 was way different, and then you had Peace Walker, which was on the PSP, which had its own unique control scheme. So every kind of Metal Gear has kind of progressed, but this one it feels right. It feels like a next gen game. It feels like the Phantom Pain is going to be, huge and epic. And for me, obviously I'm a big Metal Gear fan. And I highly, highly, highly suggest playing through Peace Walker before you play this game. I mean, you don't have to. I think they do a pretty good job of like summing up the events of Peace Walker. But if you play Peace Walker, which I actually think is the best Metal Gear game ever made,
Wow.
yeah, Peace Walker is. You know what? I should specify the HD version of Peace Walker is the supreme version of Metal Gear, because you can play it on PSP. It's the same game, but because they added the online features and online multiplayer on the HD version, it's fucking awesome.
So you can play it kind of as intended without.
And yeah, and you know what? You can beat like the majority of the game single player if you're kind of good enough. It gets pretty difficult at the end, but you can do it. But later on, because the thing with Peace Walker, and this is, I think a lot of people they might not realize this, but like you kind of get an ending in Peace Walker, and you can kind of like stop there, and you think the game is over. But if you keep playing, and if you build your Metal Gear, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but if you keep playing, like after you think the game is over, you get a way different ending, and it's like, holy shit, I didn't realize that. And so I highly suggest playing through Peace Walker, and if you think you beat it, you haven't, keep playing it to get the real ending, the true ending, and it's really worthwhile. And Peace Walker is just a great game. It's an addicting game, especially if you get the HD version. You play that shit online, it's awesome. And you need a couple of dudes when you're taking on these big, strong tanks, and when you're trying to get these extra features. Peace Walker is a really great game, and this takes place, shortly after Peace Walker, and that's how you're going to get the most out of.
So does he walk to peace?
They walk for peace. No, it's named after the Metal Gear.
Of course it fucking is.
But you get a bunch of details and why it's called Peace Walker and all this kind of. It all bleeds together very nicely. So I'm gonna play that more this weekend and play the side missions. And I've also been playing. I just beat Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. I just posted my review of it today. It's an okay game, but there's a lot of problems with it. But it's still like worthy to play if you're a fan of Castlevania, especially if you played through the first game and Mirror of Fate on the 3DS. But it's not like a top tier Symphony of the Night quality, awesome, great game. But basically the stealth segments just totally suck and completely drag down the game.
Stealth segments in a Castlevania.
It's so awful. It's so awful. Like the stealth segments in those games. I mean, it's the most frustrating. Some of the most frustrating gameplay that I've played in the last. Oh man, I don't even know how long. But I don't know why they did those. It's so bad. Like you got to turn into a mouse and then you run around to avoid these guards, and it's oh man, there's a lot of bad design choices in it. But and I said this in my review, for like you'll have a great moment in the game, like this really awesome fun thing to do, but in order to get to that great moment, you got to suffer through two really really bad ones. So that's why it's a hit or miss, but fans will dig it, but some fans, or some players I should just say.
I heard rumors there was something up with the development cycle of that game.
You know what, I could very well believe it from some of the things that go on in that. I mean, and there's like some fucking things that just piss me off, like shouldn't be in a 2014 game, like invisible walls. Like there's invisible walls all over the fucking place. Like who does that now? Like, it's just like little things like that.
Force.
Well, that's Earth Defense Force, which is designed. It's like
it's supposed to be a throwback.
It's supposed to be bad
game.
like that, not like fucking Castlevania though. So there's some problems with it, but and it's a longer game too. The first Lords of Shadow, that was
we
the 20-hour game.
On that, and
we did a stream on that.
The fact that it was like fucking ridiculously long.
Yeah, it's you can just beating this, just like muscling through it takes you 20 hours. But if you want to actually go back and get everything, you're looking at like a 30-40 hour game. And for an action game like that is a really really long game. And kind of the same thing with Lords of Shadow too.
All right, I'm just selling stuff. I'm not really doing anything interesting right now.
Apple gels, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you can. There's like the cooking feature,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you can make. Yeah, you can make. I never really experimented with that because I just got kind of overwhelmed by it. But
Um, you weren't wrong. Like, it's really fucking useful, and there's like a bunch of skits about it. Um, like the skits that they do all the time, like in between scenes and everything.
hmm
Um, but like they, it's weird. Like I really enjoy the cooking feature, but this game, it's just like they never really struck the balance with the cooking feature between how much shit should cost and
uh,
like it just always seems like you're desperate for money in this game.
is it worthwhile to actually experiment with the cooking system? Like, do you get good items from it, or is it just like
It's
or-
hit point regeneration stuff
yeah?
basically. Um,
This totally right here just reminds me of like Secret of Mana when you're flying on the dragon.
yeah. Um,
Anyway, that was a side note. Never
yeah, yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah. It's sad that you said that, and I knew exactly what you were talking about.
I
Like,
love
yeah, it
that.
kinda
I
is.
love that game though. I played the shit out of it. It's like one of my top 10 games of all time.
Oh, that it's not really fair to compare. See,
No,
okay, I'm gonna talk to a dog here, and she like freaks out, and then like names the dog basically. Like, so you talk to a dog, and she's like, "Oh, you're so lucky, 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 lucky," and then you talk to the dog again, and it's like it's just called Lucky next time,
oh, okay.
and like you get a title if you talk to all the dogs in the game.
I see.
Yeah, and it's like a really actually like powerful and impressive title because it's really fucking complicated and difficult to do.
It's good to have those little kind of details, those touches, if you're really going to dig deep
Yeah,
and try to 100% the game.
yeah, and this is like a town that gets like nuked or like it gets attacked really early in the game, and like late in the game you can go back and start donating money to have it be rebuilt.
hmm
And like early in the game it's kind of like a forgettable town, nothing really interesting happens there. And then later in the game it becomes like one of the best towns in the game to like go to.
Yeah, I remember there was a feature like that. I think it was Breath of Fire 2. That you can like build your own city and then like you find people out in the world and you kind of bring them back to your city and then you can like build it up or something. I think it was Breath of Fire 2.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's been years, of course, since I played that game.
Yeah, that was a Super Nintendo
That was
game.
Super Nintendo, yeah, 1 and 2.
I never even played Breath of Fire. I played it briefly.
I just played 1 and 2 for a little bit, and that
I
was
emulated it. Like 2 was fucking
yeah.
impossible to find.
Oh yeah, I mean both of them are pretty rare games.
Um, yeah, the first one was pretty like it was around for a while, and like if you were into RPGs, it was kind of like you just that was like the game that came out that year
Yeah, and
sort of
there
thing.
yeah
But
at
like
that
Breath of
point.
Fire
Yeah.
2, it kind of like came out under the radar, and you only ever really heard about it like in
Mhm.
Nintendo Power in passing kind of thing.
Yeah, and then years later they actually ported it to the GBA. I remember I bought the GBA version when it came out, and then I sold it back to GameStop.
You asshole. Yeah, I was really excited about it, and then I promptly.
Yeah, well, I played it, and I thought I was like, okay, I'm gonna, because it's like I start those games, and I'll play like 5-10 hours of them, and I just like quit, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually do this time and actually beat it, and then I did the exact same fucking thing. I played it for 5-10 hours, quit, traded in.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Like the Game Boy Advance shit is weird. It's like what the fuck was it? The Final Fantasy Tactics on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that they tried to make that too deep with like the judges and everything.
hmm I
I,
play. Yeah, I played the shit out of that game. I put dozens and dozens of hours. I remember playing that on the train all the time when I was going to school. But It was, yeah, it wasn't quite the same. It wasn't as like nitty gritty and dark as like the original
Well, and
Tactics.
like you also had to like bribe the judges or use cards, and then
Yeah.
it would like, oh, you broke a rule.
Yep.
Shame on you.
Yep. And
You're going to jail.
yeah.
And it was just like, dude, fuck you. And it was like, they would do that as you're fighting judges, and it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, there was some a little bit of balancing issues with it. It made battles more tedious than they needed to be, maybe. But man, I haven't played that game. I put so many hours into that game.
There was a second one that came out for the DS.
Yeah, and that one sucked. I bought that one. That one was not as good as the GBA version. There was just like no like soul to it. I don't know. It just didn't. It's just like here's just like the same game with no personality. I don't know.
Uh, I actually had a friend that swore by it. Like he
The
loved.
DS version.
Yeah, he fucking loved everything that came out though. He everything that he did, like, he was really weird. He was like one of those people that you know that you're like, you show him something and it's the greatest thing he's ever seen. Well, what do you think about this show? Oh, I fucking love Smallville. You don't think it's like pretentious and overbearing? No, man, it's a great show. All right. Oh, okay, Smallville, huh? So what do you think about this awful game? Oh man, it's so fucking awesome. It's so deep. It's like, huh?
Yeah, you got to have games that you hate. You got to have games that you like. You got to know where you stand.
Yeah. But yeah. Some days I almost miss him. It was just so fucking random that it would be like, he, just the fucking shit. Like, I swear that there were times that he was like, I don't think the movies that they're making fun of on MST3K are that bad. And it's like, no, that's the point of MST3K. They're so bad that, like, even the people who, like, made them abandoned the license.
Yeah, well, good thing he's not reviewing games because it would just be 5 stars across the board all the time.
Well, it would probably be like 4.5.
4.5, right? High marks all the time.
Yeah, it's just like 4.5. I thought that it was too amazing, and that was to its detriment. It's like, fuck you! You can't say that!
So what else have you been playing besides Tales? You've been playing the new
Atelier games, yeah.
yeah.
They're good. I really love those games. I didn't like Aisha, which was the last one, so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's just kind of like a formula to the Atelier games. And it just, I don't know, like, you need to like the main character, and I kind of hated her. Yeah. A friend of mine kind of described it, like we were talking about it today, and the way that he described it was basically, all of the other Atelier games are lighthearted and fun-going, and that one kind of was like the gritty reboot, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, they kind of Call of Duty'd it up. If that, like, you know how like Call of Duty's brown and stuff?
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be Alchemists of Dusk.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world in decay or something like that. And it's this world that's slowly just like falling apart and dying, and that's like the entire like world that it's set in, that you're wandering around and everything's ruins of a more advanced civilization, and better times and stuff, and you're just like struggling to figure out how stuff used to work, and it's just, I don't know, it feel like the last one just felt sad and a little suffocating. Like, and you were like trying to save your sister, and like halfway through I'm just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I never I've always seen those games on the store shelves but never played them.
they're a time management sort of game, if that makes sense. Like, there's also this time element. Like, you only have so long to do stuff, and you have to find a way to weigh what you're going to do with the time that you've been allotted. Um, so like you only have X amount of time to, befriend this person before they're gone forever. Um, some of the other ones that like came out on the DS, there were people that would like just straight up fucking leave. They'd be like, "Oh, I don't think that we're good enough friends, and there's no real reason for me to stay in this town." So
Yeah, kind of.
bye.
Maybe we can stream that or something next week because I never played those games, but I've always wanted to see just what's going on with them.
Yeah,
Just check just
absolutely.
the battle system and because there's been a lot of those games.
15. There have been
Yeah,
15 at Lear games.
that's and they haven't all come here to America though, right?
No, there were a bunch of them on the PlayStation 1, but and that's only the core at Lear games.
Hmm.
So I mean, think about that.
Yeah, that's a lot of damn games.
Yeah,
If you
like
think about it, I mean, really, that's like one. That's almost like one game every year.
yeah, and well, they do come out every year.
Yeah, that's
And they're pretty like consistent as opposed to like Final Fantasy that comes
yeah.
out whenever the fuck it comes out,
Hmm.
and they're not always that great.
No, look at 13.
Look at any of the 13s.
Yeah.
Look at 12.
Speaking of Final Fantasy, what about the 10 and 10.2 just came out, the remastering of it?
Oh, isn't that like $40 too?
I think that's $40 too, yeah.
Or
10 was like, 10 was okay, but 10.2 was fucking awful.
it was awful.
Oh man, that was, and I beat that game too. I don't know why I did that to myself.
I beat it, but I didn't get the good ending.
And yeah, oh, yeah, I just kind of muscled through because I was like, okay, I already put 25 hours or whatever it is. I just want to beat it.
You had to breed monkeys.
It was
Like I remember
oh man,
I
that
got
was
the official strategy guide, and when I went to trade in the game, I brought that with me, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we don't take strategy guides." And it was like a guy I went to high school with, and he's like, "Dan, you know that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. I just wanted someone to take it from me." And he looked me in the eyes, and he's like, "Didn't you pay $40 for the collector's edition guide?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're just basically asking me to like take this from you and throw it away." And I'm like, "I didn't say that, but like, please take this game from me and the
yeah.
guide with it." And he's like, uh, "Okay." And it was just I hated that fucking game. And like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was like a point in my life that I was like, "Yeah, I don't like trading in games." Like, I, all I do is basically go back to GameStop and rebuy them a little while later.
hmm
Um, I get nothing out of this besides like a sort of new game, and they fucking make a profit off of me. So yeah,
like like if I see Final Fantasy the 10.2 remake, if it goes down to like $20, I think I'll buy it. But it'll be one of those games that like I buy it just because I feel like for some reason the need to buy it, but it's like I might never open the packaging, I might never take it out of the box.
oh, kind of like me in the Yakuza games.
Kind of like me in just a lot of games.
Like I own every Yakuza game that's come to the United States. Uh, I think I've opened Yakuza 2 and played about an hour and a half of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how it goes. I got a lot of games sitting on my shelf that I buy and then never get around to it.
'Cause it's weird because like after a while you kind of feel like you owe it to the developer.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like I played through 10 and 10.2 at the time, when it came out on PS2. But I mean, I think I might want to go back and like play the first 2 hours of 10 and see what the deal is. But other than that, I don't see myself pouring 40, 50 hours and beating that game again. But
Yeah.
I would buy it
I hear they
I saw it in a
redid the
bin.
level up system.
I heard that they I guess they changed a couple of things, but I don't know too much about it. But I think at its heart, it's still, of course, going to be the same game.
Yeah, so do I. All right, so I think that's good enough for this week. What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, that's a good showing of Tails.
All right. So for this week, this has been Dan Gilman. You can follow me on mygamer.com where I do stuff randomly. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Gilman or on my website at farms.net.
And I am Zach Gazarowski. Of course, go to mygamer.com. We'll post this stream up there in a little bit as soon as we sign off. What else? Go to squallsnake.com. That's my personal blog. You can be my Xbox buddy. I'm Squallsnake there. I'm at Zach Gaz, ZACKGAZ, and on the Twitter. Follow me. Follow my gamer on Twitter. We post a lot of game stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
All right. Until next week.